Double or Nothing 2021 is in the books, and oh man, what a show we got here. Uh, First and foremost, of course, I'm going to come out repping the crowd. Oh my god, we had an amazing crowd for this show. We had a crowd for this show. Definitely the largest crowd that we've had for AEW at least. Again, I'm pretty sure like WrestleMania had more people, but this was just more jam packed. I felt like than any other wrestling show I've seen this year. So having the crowd back did absolute wonders for the show. It was freaking awesome, man. Getting to hear. Not only them just making incredible amounts of noise, but also just being able to hear the fans giving their real input. Just knowing that it's not just some piped in BS that's going on. So that was a big part of why I love this show so much. Up and down the card, it was pretty great for the most part. There's a couple things here and there we're gonna have to talk about that I wasn't such a big fan of. It's probably not so different from things that you may not have enjoyed on the show, but all in all, I think this was one of AEW's best pay-per-views. It's definitely going to go down as one of the most memorable pay-per-views, being that it's the first one with fans back. What more could we possibly want, So, show started off here. We kicked it off with Brian Cage versus Hangman Adam Page. Really good match. This went about like 15, 16 minutes or so, and it was just pure action up and down the match. Of course, the crowd is going absolutely insane for Adam Page. He's one of like the special attractions, basically. Just with how over he is with the crowd. So the fans went crazy for him, and Brian Cage came out in like a Terminator-esque kind of costume thing. Like it came out in, I guess, because he's the machine, so he came out in like a robot kind of thing. It was cool. So during the match, Cage caught a dive on the outside and basically buckle bombed Adam Page, except on the outside. It was on the ring post. We got an outside moonsault by Hangman Page. Page attempted a top rope Rana. Cage attempted a powerbomb reversal, but Cage managed to actually land the Super Rana. Brian Cage landed a superplex from the middle rope onto the stage, and that was a hard landing. Bodies rattled. Cage landed some top rope toss at one point for a near fall, just some crazy looking throw. At one point, it looked like Cage was actually attempting the buckshot. Like he did the flip over the rope and he was going for the buckshot lariat, but Page reversed it and he actually F5'd Brian Cage, which was quite the sight. I never thought I would see Hangman Page do an F5. At one point, Page is attempting a buckshot lariat. Cage reverses it into a couple power bombs. Cage lands a discus lariat, a spinning Liger bomb for a near fall. And then we had a run-in during this match, as we actually did, kind of up and down the card. There's a lot of run-ins, a lot of interference going on in the show. Maybe that's, from a booking standpoint, that's one of the flaws of the pay-per-view from last night. Starks and Hook end up coming out, and they distract the referee, and they hand Cage the FTW title, but he refuses to cheat. So we're getting even more pushing the idea that Brian Cage is going to end up turning against Team Taz here. So he refuses to cheat. Distracted Cage eats a buckshot lariat for the win, and Taz is pissed that Brian Cage didn't take advantage the way his partners were trying to give him the win. Adam Page celebrated with a beer post-match. Team Taz is in the ring. Cage getting in Hook in Starks' face, and Starks is like, "Oh, hey, take it easy. I got a messed up neck, man, so I can't fight you right now." So, it's all but over for Team Taz, or at least Brian Cage being in Team Taz. We'll see how it goes from there. And I don't think Brian Cage needs like a posse around him. He is a posse. He's a posse of a man. So, yeah, it's about time. Just get him out of there, man. Let him do his own thing in singles, and he'll do great. And next up, we had the World Tag Team Championship match. This was Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus the Young Bucks. And of course, this just continued the awesome excitement that this pay-per-view kicked off with here. People went insane for Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. We got to keep in mind, this is Eddie Kingston's first pay-per-view experience in front of an AEW crowd. So it's a big deal, and the crowd recognized that and accordingly were going nuts for Eddie Kingston. And Young Bucks come out and they're wearing just like the most douchiest attire ever. Nick Jackson's grown out a full beard. He's got all these like weird kind of like ironic tights that they're wearing. Like it basically has pocket in like exclamation or rather in quotations like where the pockets are supposed to be. It's just like just the most ironic kind of douchey look the Young Bucks were sporting last night. So Moxley and Kingston attacked mid-entrance after the Young Bucks confetti goes off, and Moxley takes Matt Jackson on the outside. They just start brawling, and at one point Moxley's like shoving confetti down his throat. They just start fighting around the crowd area. At one point, Brandon Cutler spraying Nick Jackson down with I don't know what that spray is. I have no idea. I really don't know. They just say like aerosol can, which that's what the can is, but I don't know what the hell is inside of that thing. Is it spray tan? Maybe they mentioned it and it just went over my head, or I just don't even get the concept of what it is in the first place. But anyway, it's part of their gimmick that they spray themselves for some reason. So Cutler spraying Nick down, and Moxley and Kingston beat up Brandon Cutler. Nick and Kingston now in the ring, and the match at this point has officially begun. So it was one of those things where they start brawling before the match even started, and then the legal men get in the ring, and then the match starts. So Moxley lands a Gotch pile driver on Nick after a hot tag, lands another on Matt Jackson for a near fall. Moxley locks in the Bulldog choke until Nick saves. Moxley lands a double DDT to both guys. Moxley's dominating. At one point, the Good Brothers actually come out. Eddie sees it coming and goes after Doc Gallows. Frankie Kazarian came to get rid of Carl Anderson. I'm not sure why, like, Frankie Kazarian's involved with these guys. Okay, I guess it could be maybe because the Young Bucks ended Christopher Daniels' career, because I was kind of wondering, like, what the whole point of Frankie coming out was. But I guess that's the connection. And not to say that Christopher Daniels' career is over per se, but it probably is anyway. But SCU is over. So Matt sprays Mox in the eyes with whatever that is and strikes him with the aerosol can. This causes him to start bleeding, and he wore the crimson mask. Bucks land a Meltzer driver on the ramp. I don't remember who took it. I think it was Eddie Kingston. Bucks opening Mox's wound. They're just like punching at it, opening him up. Landed an assisted moonsault. Moxley comes back, lands a double German suplex, getting both of the Young Bucks at once, gets a hot tag. Kingston lands belly to belly and Zagiri, DDT on Matt Jackson, and a huge big boot to Nick. Bucks got assisted sliced bread for a near fall. That was sweet looking. Moxley gets tagged in, immediately double super kicked. Moxley's able to lock a choke on Matt. There's a lot of Moxley kind of no-selling in this match. Moxley's able to lock in a choke on Matt. Nick lands on him with a 450 splash for a near fall. The Bucks are attempting a Meltzer driver on Kingston. Moxley distracts it. Moxley and Kingston lands a Doomsday device with the Jordan Dior's. So literally, like, when Moxley was jumping off the top rope for the clothesline, he clotheslined with the shoes. Nick lands a sharpshooter after avoiding a paradigm shift. Matt is holding Kingston back, but Moxley's able to escape. Moxley lands a huge lariat and a paradigm shift, but Matt is able to break the pin. Moxley eats a double super kick, no sells again, and lands a double clothesline. Man is just eating a super kick party, and he kicks out at one. So we get a double super kick to Moxley. These guys are just trying to take him out. They attempt a BTE trigger. They land it, but Moxley won't fall. He's just staying up on his knees. So they keep Moxley up for another, and they repeatedly land BTE triggers. It was probably 3 or 4 in total. And that took out Moxley. So the Young Bucks retained the World Tag Team Championships, and Moxley actually took the pin. And that may have been Moxley's first clean loss in AEW. I'm not sure if I could recall that happening before. So that was interesting. Moxley took the pin there. And then, there's the whole thing of, he's about to have a kid, and, he's got a pregnant wife at home who's ready, due any day, right? So maybe it's not the best time for Moxley to be a champion right now. So it kind of makes sense. And I guess maybe he took the pin because who knows, perhaps he's going to disappear for a little while. And then this is where the show started to grind to a halt a little bit here. We had the Casino Battle Royal. I don't see how you could put it any other way. Battle Royals are always going to slow down the momentum of a show, you know? Like, if the first two matches were, like, kind of mediocre or whatever, which would have also sucked, it would have been easier to go into this Battle Royal. But coming off such a high and then just, like, it kind of spoiled it a little bit. I don't like Battle Royals. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't like Battle Royals, but I will acknowledge that they're necessary because again you have to showcase your guys, right? Like the 30 people involved in this match wouldn't have had any screen time if it weren't for the Battle Royal, so I get it. No, I don't like them. I never will. Except for like the last few minutes of Battle Royals. Those are always good, including this one actually. So we had Paul White as a guest announcer. I'll spoil it right off the bat. Thank God he wasn't the Joker. I was because I was kind of fearful like he would just take off the headset and come to the ring, and that would have sucked. So out first is Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Hobbs, Dustin Rhodes, and Max Caster. Dustin Rhodes keeps coming out with this bull rope for some reason. I don't know. Like I don't get the inside. Whatever. Christian, oh yeah, so Max Caster decided to cut like his rap promo, said that Christian's dusting off the cobwebs and said he was better when he had an edge. I liked that. That was a sick line. And then he literally just called Dustin Rhodes ugly. I was like, dude, you went from like 100 to 0 as far as like how awesome those bars were. So Caster low blows Sydal and throws him out. It's literally my first note of the match. Like Sydal's just gone. It's kind of hilarious to me how they don't really treat him much better than WWE did, to be honest. I guess he got a world title shot that one time. Caster was kind of awkwardly sent out of the ring by Christian Cage. I just used Cage here. I was like, wait, Brian Cage? Oh, no, it's Christian Cage, right. Yeah, it's two Cages. Out comes, for the next suit, it's Matt Hardy, 10, Nick Camarado, Serpentico. That looks like it's only 4 people, so I think I might be missing somebody. Camarado gets a huge spear on 10. Dustin's able to throw both of the guys out. Hobbs throws out Dustin. Next up is Varsity Blondes coming out as a tag team, even though it is a singles battle royal. Colt Cabana, Anthony Bowens, who landed a really cool brainbuster on Pillman Jr. And then we got Penta Zero Miedo, who was just over, man. The crowd exploded. Like, I think AEW is kind of blind to how over this guy is. Seriously, like, they're just not taking any advantage of him as a singles competitor. They're just keeping him in these just useless matches. And it's, like, so weird because, you know, like, I'll just slight spoiler, what I really didn't like on the show was the Anthony Gogo Cody Rhodes match. But it's like, dude, weren't they doing a program for Pentagon Jr. and Cody Rhodes for, like, did it last 2 weeks or something? And then it just gone. They never even had... Did they have a match? If they did, it was just the most, like, throwaway match ever. Like, why couldn't they just continue that until the pay-per-view? And then do Rhodes versus Penta? That would have been awesome, man. But we got him in this shit match, and he was treated like shit. And like I said, the crowd is hot for this guy, man. They were going crazy for Penta. Isaiah Cassidy interferes at one point. He's not actually in the match, and but he did throw out Colt Cabana. The Blondes threw out Anthony Bowens. Garrison got thrown out by Matt Hardy. The crowd is really hot for Pillman at one point. They're just going nuts for Brian Pillman Jr., so good for him, man. It's cool to see that the crowd really likes the guy. Jungle Boy comes out and squares up with Penta doing some really cool shit, as both of those guys always do. Mark Quinn, Aaron Solo, Evil Uno, and Lee Johnson follow as well. Lee gets rid of Solo, Hardy gets rid of Johnson, Penta gets rid of Uno, Jungle Boy takes out Pentagon Jr., you know, so yeah, they hardly did anything with Penta in this match. And I just hope they could, they could pick up his momentum. Hobbs gets a really cool spine buster on Cassidy. Christian's able to throw out Hobbs. And of course, that's like kind of the rivalry, Christian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs. And so next up and finally is the Joker, and it is Lio Rush. So, nobody too exciting per se, but I'm cool with Lio Rush. And also, I'm pretty sure he's an NJPW, so that might have been a New Japan deal getting him on the show, which is, slightly relieving after hearing about all this WWE is going to take over NJPW. Yeah, I don't need that. So they got Lio Rush. He landed a sick A sick-looking poison Rana on Mark Quinn and a Spanish fly on Cassidy. He kind of botched his stunner spot. I might have been on Matt Hardy who was doing that. Either way, he got eliminated pretty quickly by Matt Hardy. Jungle Boy gets rid of Mark Quinn. We now have Hardy, Christian, and Jungle Boy. Christian throws out Matt Hardy. Christian and Jungle Boy having a crazy, suspenseful fight on the apron. You know how the end of Battle Royals and Royal Rumbles always are. It's the last two people just fighting on the apron. That's what we got here, but it was actually really cool stuff. Jungle Boy is basically like Christian shoves Jungle Boy toward the ring post, so you figure he's going to bump off the ring post and fall down, get eliminated. But no, he like did the most swift, just like swing around the ring post, gets back in the ring, and he's able to throw Christian out of the match, and there you have it. Jungle Boy wins, and I'm not sure if I mentioned at the top of the match here, but this is for a world title shot. So Jungle Boy won. The crowd went absolutely ape. They obviously wanted Jungle Boy to win from the get-go, and he did. They did what was right here, and he's earned himself a title shot that he will actually compete for in 2 weeks. So Jurassic Express come out to celebrate. Christian came back to the ring and gave basically his blessing to Jungle Boy, was like, hey man, you got this, make the best of it, something along those lines. So cool stuff. Next up was the worst part of the show, Anthony Gogo versus Cody Rhodes. I didn't really like this at all. Really at all. I hear people saying they liked it, and I really couldn't even understand why. So Cody again is using his father's American Dream thing. The moniker comes out in this like really super decked out, I guess American inspired gear. Match starts in the Gogo. He's actually quick to use his body shot finish on Cody, and he starts like selling it like crazy. But when Cody gets the upper hand, he's kind of grounding a Gogo, you know, the whole strategy of ground the boxer and stuff. So he's like doing like a butterfly lock at one point to try to injure the arms. At one point, QT Marshall comes out for the distraction. Arn Anderson threatens QT with a chair, gets rid of him. A Gogo landed some kind of big slam at one point, really taking out Cody. And then I have no idea what even happened, but at one point I knew like 10 seconds into this exactly what was happening, because for like 30 seconds Cody's just like standing around, and I don't know, I guess he did some move to a Gogo taking him out, and he's just standing around, and I'm like, I know what's going on here. There's a fucking blade job going on. So they do a super obvious blade job spot. I actually don't even know what happened to a Gogo to cause him to get busted open, but they decided to do that for some reason. I might be missing something obvious that happened that I might have just missed. So Cody lands a Cody Cutter. A Gogo at one point's fighting Cody on the top, punches Cody in the face, sending him down. A Gogo lands a frog splash for a near fall. That was actually pretty cool, just because I wasn't expecting it at all. Cody lands a dropkick, locks in figure four until a Gogo escapes. A Gogo lands a body shot and a punch to the jaw, attempts a pin, but basically they're doing the whole thing where, oh, he's an inexperienced wrestler, he doesn't know that you're not supposed to pin while Cody's under the bottom rope. He was under the bottom rope, so the pin didn't count. Cody's able to get the upper hand and lands his vertebreaker for the win. So he won. Which, you know, you've probably already heard everybody saying, like, there's no reason for him to have taken this win. You know, he could have jobbed to the new guy, but decided not to. So next up we have Lance Archer versus Miro for the TNT Championship. And this was a pretty cool match. You know, it was a big guy match. It wasn't over the moon or anything like that. It was just good. Definitely not Lance Archer's best match, maybe not even one of them. Lance landed his moonsault old school at the beginning of the match. Archer slams Miro through a table that's set ringside. Archer lands a helicoaster to Miro. At one point, he's also attempting a moonsault. This is when Miro begins to get the upper hand. He dodges the moonsault attempt. And then we get another run-in. Jeez, man. Like, watching the show, I didn't realize how many run-ins there were. You know, this time it was Jake Roberts came out with his snake in a bag. We never actually saw the snake. Miro took the bag and just like swinging it around his head, and then he throws it across the arena and kills the prop snake. Miro attempts his thrust kick to Roberts, but Archer's able to defend him and land a lariat. I think Miro actually did get some offense on Jake Roberts. I think he did take some punishment here. Miro lands a snap suplex, thrust kick to Archer, locks in the game over for the win. So still your TNT champion. My prediction, and what I would have honestly preferred, would have been a draw, but instead we just got a clean win on Archer. So, I was thinking this could have been dragged out maybe to a couple matches afterwards, especially because this match just wasn't that great. I feel like as a first out of maybe 2 or 3 matches, this would have been more appropriate, but just this to just seal the deal and close the program, which is the impression I got out of this, it's kind of underwhelming. But that's what we got. And then after that, we got the announcement for All Out, which is officially announced to be in Chicago, returning to their home ground, AEW. That's their breeding ground, Chicago. And All Out will return. And then we got Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World Championship. And of course, Hikaru Shida has been champion for just over a year. Britt Baker's been on the hottest streak of her life, so I definitely had Britt Baker in this match. We'll go through it and see what happened here. So Britt Baker, at the beginning of the match, or at least in the earlier parts of the match, landed a curb stomp to Shida before attempting a lockjaw. That curb stomp that she does honestly just always looks ruthless. Shida, with 3 corner knee strikes, goes after her nose, basically just pulling on it, because I think it was Shida who broke her nose originally, broke Baker's nose a year ago or something, whenever that was. Lands a knee strike to the back of Baker's head for a near fall. Baker returns with a fisherman neckbreaker for a near fall. There is a lot of near falls, just get ready. I think almost every single spot I've written down resulted in a near fall. Baker with a thrust kick, a sling blade, and lands an air raid crash for another near fall. Shida with a German suplex and a diving elbow strike, another near fall. Shida gets Britt up top for a superplex, another near fall. Shida locks in a stretched muffler until Rebel distracts, and she actually accidentally struck Baker right in the head with her crutch, which the referee saw. So I guess there's some stupid wrestling rule that if it's your friend, you don't get disqualified. So it didn't result in a disqualification. Shida lands a Falcon Arrow for another near fall. And Rebel distracts. Britt strikes Shida with the belt. Lands a curb stomp onto the belt for another near fall. Which was actually really a good near fall. I thought that would probably have been it there. Shida lands the Tamashé for the last near fall of the match, which I also thought was a good near fall. I thought it may have been over for Baker there. I thought Shida might have taken the match, but before you know it, Britt's able to lock in her lockjaw, taps out Shida, and wins the AEW Women's World Championship. So congratulations to Baker. I'd say a long overdue championship win for her. Really happy for her. Really been loving her work over the last several months. So I'm excited to see how this program's going to go. I'm excited to see her take over as the face of the women's division in AEW. And this was all babyface. I don't know if it's an official face turn or anything, but this was all, her whole match celebration was complete babyface. Tony Schiavone celebrated with her after the match. They got a hug and a very nice moment. But I'm sure Britt will return on Friday to Dynamite and, talk shit and be heel again. But yeah, congrats to her. Really, really happy she won the title. And then we had the legendary Sting returning with Darby Allin to take on Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. And this was fun stuff, man. There was really kind of old school meshing with a new school feel kind of match. So I was into it. After Sky and Page made their entrance, we had a little video package for Darby, who's skating at a skate park, and he's skating upside next to some vehicle. Of course, Sting is driving this vehicle. Darby hops in, and Sting says it's showtime. And yes, again, this is Sting's first in-ring match in 6 years, so it's been a long time. I'm sure a lot of people were, kind of worried for the guy. He's 63 years old, I think. It's just ridiculous to even think that. He came out with the shirt on that he'd been wearing like every week, and then once the match started, he took it off and he had his ring gear on, and the guy doesn't look too bad for 60 something years old, man. So really cool stuff. So match starts and Darby immediately bullet dives. That's just what I'm going to call it. I actually wish they would just call it the bullet dive, because this guy launches himself out of the ring at a speed that I've just never seen somebody be able to do, man. So he bullet dives to Ethan Page right when the match starts, and he's just like crashes into the guy. It was really cool. Scorpio lands a suplex to Sting on the stage, and that was a surprising spot because it looked like he hit pretty damn hard. He did no sell though, and so basically what happened is he did the suplex, Scorpio did the suplex to him on the stage, and then he jumped off the ramp to show off or whatever, and then he turns around, sees that Sting no sold it, and then Sting dives off the stage onto the heels. They catch him, no problem. That was a little concerning, but it all worked out and it was great. So we got some tag team offense by Sting and Darby. Sting face plants Scorpio Sky. Scorpio lands his cutter on Darby Allin. Ethan throws Darby all the way into the crowd at one point, apparently actually throwing him onto some of his family members. I think it was mentioned that Darby's brother was amongst those catching him. But seriously, like, it was kind of crazy. Like, Ethan Page was in the ring and threw Darby over the top rope, over the barricade into the crowd. So I'm glad he didn't miss, because that was seriously, he flew pretty far. Darby lands his stunner, tags in Sting, he lands Stinger, splashes on the heels, lands Code Red for a near fall. Kind of sloppy code Red, but I did listen to a couple other reviews of this show, and people are saying that they've never ever seen Sting do a Code Red, like, ever. That was apparently like the first time he'd ever done that. So that's kind of cool, I guess, even though it was a 62-year-old guy doing a Code Red, or 63 or whatever. Ethan throws Darby off the top of the rope onto Sting at one point. Off the top rope, sorry, onto Sting, who gets up, takes down Ethan Page to lock in the Scorpion Deathlock. Darby locks in the Fujiwara armbar until Scorpio locks Darby in a drop toe hold. So basically, we have Darby and Ethan Page both locked in a submission, and Darby and Ethan Page are just like slapping each other while they're in agonizing pain in these holds. Scorpio and Sting exchange until Sting is able to land his Scorpion Death Drop to Scorpio Sky for the win. And yeah, that was pretty great stuff. It wasn't a fantastic match or anything, but you shouldn't have gotten into this expecting that, right? You should have gotten into this expecting a bit of, the skeptical, the spectacle, of Sting having his first in-ring match in 6 years. That's what this was for. It wasn't to have a 5-star match or anything like that. So I think it was exactly how it should have gone. It was safe and stuff. At one point I was like, watch one of these heels try to buckle bomb him or something. I'm sure somebody's going to try to buckle bomb him at one point. But thankfully nobody tried any such antics, and everything went smooth sailing. And then we had the co-main event here, which I was pretty happy didn't close the show. I made my thoughts clear on after the Friday Dynamite show that I didn't want this to close the show. I thought it would be way more appropriate for Stadium Stampede, so I got my wish. So this is Pac versus Orange Cassidy versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. Cassidy gets a double run on both guys, lands a spinning DDT on Omega. Pac lands a shotgun dropkick on Cassidy, lands another on Omega, lands another, this time hitting both guys simultaneously. Kenny with a tope on both guys on the outside. Orange Cassidy lands a Slumdog Millionaire on Kenny Omega. Kenny and Orange Cassidy are exchanging pins until at one point Pac lands a 450 to break the exchange. Kenny lands a V-trigger to Cassidy, Pac a German suplex to Kenny, and a thrust kick to Orange Cassidy. Kenny at one point is setting up for an Avalanche Dragon suplex. Orange gets his hands in his pockets and basically is able to escape the maneuver that way. Pac throws Kenny off the top with a German suplex. Orange Cassidy's still hanging on and dives onto Pac with his hands in his pockets. Kenny lands a Tiger Driver 98 on Cassidy for a near fall. Really sick move. Kenny lands his catch German suplex on Pac for a near fall. Kenny removes his knee pads and V-triggers Orange Cassidy. Cassidy's able to come back, though, and lands a Michinoku driver on Kenny. Pac lands a brainbuster on Cassidy. Kenny attempts an avalanche one-winged angel on Pac at one point, but he's able to reverse to a sunset flip. Avalanche Falcon Arrow by Pac to Kenny. Orange attempts to steal the win, but it is just a near fall. So Cassidy is doing his nothing kicks to Pac at one point. Pac just low blows the guy. I think he should stop doing that. It never does him any good. I don't think there has been a single time that he's ever done those stupid kicks, and then it resulted in him getting the momentum in the match. So Pac low blows him and dives onto Kenny on the outside. Lands a black arrow for a near fall. Pac attempted a black arrow and missed on Kenny this time. Kenny attempts a one-winged angel. Pac locks in a brutalizer. Orange Cassidy lands an orange punch and a beach break to Kenny for a near fall. Orange punch to Pac to Kenny. At this point, Don Callis is flipping out at the announce booth. He was announcing for the match. We just hear him go, "Oh, shit." And then he leaves the announce desk. Cassidy lands an orange punch to Pac. And as he's going for the pin, Callis drags the ref out of the ring. And this is when I think there's like real heat with the crowd. They start chanting bullshit and start chanting "fuck you, Don," which was hilarious. But yeah, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like the antics should have been kept out of this match. You know, I get it. Like, Callis is the heel manager. They gotta fill a quota with the heel tropes, which is fine and all. But you know, I would have liked this kind of just to go straight down the line because the crowd was so hot. I feel like that kind of killed them for a little bit. Pac catches Cassidy dive attempt, locks in the brutalizer. Kenny's trying to force Pac out of it, but he refuses to let go. So Kenny just takes out the referee, takes out Bryce Remsburg. Callis throws the Impact title at Kenny. He takes out Pac with the Impact title. Callis throws in the AAA Mega title to Kenny. Kenny takes out Pac with the AAA Mega title. Callis throws in the TNA title. Kenny takes out Pac with the TNA title. And then finally, Kenny takes the AEW title and takes out Pac with the AEW title. So four bumps Pac had to take with championship belts that are probably around 40 pounds each. Orange came back for an orange punch, attempted a pin. Aubrey came for the count. 1, 2, and nope. Kenny reverses the pin into a crucifix for the win. So it was a pretty damn underwhelming finish, but the match was fantastic. I think it was, you know, almost as good as any triple threat match could be. You know, again, the antics with Callis was, you know, whatever. I kind of liked the spot where Kenny was hitting Pac with all the titles. That was kind of funny. But yeah, just the crucifix win was like so underwhelming. But I guess it's a good way for a heel to win to retain his championship, I suppose. So Kenny retains. And then next up, we got a quick announcement for a new commentator for AEW Rampage, the new show beginning in August. And the announcer they have set up here is Mark Henry. So he is the first confirmed to be part of the announce team for that show. And he is all elite. I actually also heard that he wants another match. So, like Big Show, he's probably got a copy-paste of the Big Show deal, honestly. So yeah, he's going to be announcing and he's going to be wrestling. We will see him wrestle. And this brings us to the main event of the evening, and my God, this was quite something. It was the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle in a Stadium Stampede match. The secondary stipulation being that if Inner Circle loses, they must disband as a stable. So MJF comes out in a limo, or rather a limo shows up and MJF comes out of the limo, and he's calling for Inner Circle, "Come out here, you pussies," or whatever he said. So out they come, and in grand fashion, they came down ziplining from like the or I don't know if it's ziplining per se, whatever they were doing, propelling down from the top of the stadium. And there's like the slight Owen Hart PTSD thing, so I was a little worried. I was like, good God, all went well, and they came down safely for the awesome entrance. So MJF is like, oh, fuck this, so he goes back in the limo. Pinnacle were nowhere to be seen until they pull up in Tully's truck. The ring is also set up in the stadium, so they have it similarly built to how the last one was set up. Sammy got a huge cutter on Spears in the ring. Spears landed a thunder bomb, a blue thunder bomb. MJF comes out of the limo at one point and he's like, okay, I'm safe. But little does he know Jericho's right there waiting. MJF tells Jericho to bring it, piece of shit. So they go at it. MJF goes to the limo trunk and sprays Jericho with a fire extinguisher. MJF and Jericho are fighting somewhere in the arena. Jericho dumps MJF's face into the garbage. MJF whips hot coffee at Jericho in the face. For Jericho to come back, he uses a megaphone and deafens MJF. Jericho takes out MJF with cookie pans. Jericho enters some office where there's NFL officials. I don't remember their names, but I know they're like Jacksonville Jaguar coaches. I think the main coach and the assistant coach were just hanging around. And so I think the main coach was like throwing footballs to Jericho to whip at MJF. Jericho threw MJF past the NFL people through a table, and that triggered one of them to go like, holy shit, and that was kind of funny. We cut to Wardlow and Hager, who are fighting in like a warehouse part of the arena. Wardlow whips Hager with like these empty jugs, and Hager and Wardlow fight in a walking freezer. And it was just like hilarious because in the walking freezer is like a pig. It looks like it was just fresh chopped in half because it was like, it wasn't like a dried out kind of, butchered pig. It was like red, like still bleeding and shit. I was like, God damn, that's disturbing. So they're fighting in this kitchen. And then we cut over to Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears. And basically Sammy's just looking around for Spears. The lights go out. Spears is sitting in some room full of chairs. And they start brawling. Sammy jumps off a forklift, kicking Spears in the face. Shawn strikes Sammy with a ladder while brawling in the storage room. Spears handcuffs Sammy in the storage room. But Sammy soon noticed that there's these pliers. Is that what they're called? And so he was able to escape from the handcuffs eventually. Next, we cut to Santana and Ortiz. They walk into a bar part of the arena where FTR are with Tully Blanchard just partying. So they know they're in the middle of a match. They're like, let's just go party instead. Let's just go into this random bar. And so anyways, Santana and Ortiz meet them there. And so basically Santana and Ortiz are on one side of the room, FTR on the other, and in between them are just a whole bunch of party goers. And so Santana, Ortiz, and FTR start beating the shit out of just everybody in the entire place while they're making their way over to each other. So they meet on either side of a table in the bar, and there's drinks set up, and they're like, all right, before this, let's have a quick drink. So FTR and Santana and Ortiz toast to a drink before they start brawling. And the DJ in the club is revealed to be Conan, and he starts putting on some sick beats. Really cool throwback to the good old LAX days. FTR, Santana, and Ortiz continue brawling. Tully is about to whip Ortiz with a steel bar at one point. Conan stops him, and Santana starts beating up Tully Blanchard with the steel bar. Ortiz beats Dax down with a trash can. Cash is whipping beer bottles at Ortiz, and they're exploding on impact, which kind of gives away that they're definitely not real. Santana and Cash fight into an elevator to end that scene. So go back to Wardlow and Hager. They're still in that warehouse place. Hager chokeslams Wardlow off wooden shelves through a bunch of stuff. Jericho hits MJF with a life-size portrait of Shah Khan, which is Tony Khan's dad. That was kind of funny. And then he put the portrait back nicely, and Jericho took a stapler and stapled a note to MJF's forehead and ripped it off. MJF's basically Superman punched Jericho at one point, gets him on top of this solid wood conference table and pile drove Jericho onto it. Aubrey Edwards is there to count a near fall. Jericho eventually finds Floyd, and he actually like whipped MJF with it. Like he didn't hold back. He really wailed him with that bat. Jericho throws MJF through a glass door. MJF is busted open. Shawn Spears is ambushed by the Inner Circle Motorcycle Club. Jericho and MJF fight back into Daly's place. MJF rips Jericho's arm protection off. MJF attempting to throw Jericho off the rafters into the arena. That was kind of scary because Jericho was like kind of hanging down and like about to fall off the rafter in the arena. Jericho retaliates and attacks MJF with a spotlight. Jericho powerbombs MJF through some stuff. Sammy Guevara chases down Shawn Spears in the golf cart, and he got his sweet revenge. Was able to take out Shawn Spears with the golf cart. Shawn Spears took the golf cart spot this time. That was pretty funny. Guevara and Spears return to the ring in Daly's place, and the crowd's going nuts, man. The crowd couldn't be happier to actually be able to watch a match live. Yeah, I was thinking it was just kind of weird to like do the Stadium Stampede thing on your first show back with fans, but the way I'm hearing people put it is that it's like the perfect kind of story in a way, because they started off in the empty stadium like Stadium Stampede did last year, and then they slowly like went into the building and slowly made their way back into the arena where all the fans were. So it kind of started off feeling like the pandemic show, this match, and then it ended feeling like we're back to wrestling. So that I'll really give them. So I kind of forgave the whole, why are you doing a Stadium Stampede when there's a crowd that has to watch a TV? Once they got back to the arena, the crowd was hot again. They totally forgave the whole thing. Sammy at one point attempts a springboard. Spears whips a chair at him midair. Shawn killed Guevara with a chair headshot for a near fall. Shawn props a chair in the corner, and he basically does that thing where he pops a chair between the bottom middle rope, and then he like curb stomps the opponent's face through the chair. Sammy was actually able to do that to Shawn Spears in this case, so stomps his face through a chair in the corner. Sammy lands a 630 senton, just an amazing move for the win. And my prediction was incorrect. Inner Circle remain a stable. And it was just awesome, you know. The end of the show, we got the happy ending. The crowd was on fire. Oh man, it was just a thing of beauty. There's like a fireworks display, and the fans are going absolutely ape crazy for Judas. They're just singing it like to the top of their lungs. It was a fantastic end to this show. Fantastic close to a fantastic show. You know, for the most part, there's a couple things I had a little problem with, but what the relieving factor of any problem I had here was the crowd, man. It was just absolutely awesome to have the crowd back, and I'm looking forward to having a crowd, you know, watching wrestling shows, and yeah, we'll see how everything goes from here. I really do appreciate you checking out the coverage for Double or Nothing 2021. It is in the books, and we'll be back, I guess, Friday or Saturday for Dynamite. We'll do a review on that. Apparently, they're getting preempted throughout the whole month. Let me take a look at June real quick here. Because, yeah, I heard that every week, except maybe the last week. Yeah. So I think it's every week they're getting preempted to either Friday or Saturday, except for June 30th, which is on a Wednesday. So basically the whole month they're getting preempted. So yeah, we're going to have to like shift reviews around and stuff. But one way or another, we will talk to you soon. Thanks again for watching Pierce the Canvas Podcast. This is Pierce signing out. Take care, everybody.